I'm walking here in Prague on the morning of June 3rd with my guide Richard.
Hello.
Nice young man who knows a lot about the city. And we were just talking about Art Nouveau in Prague. We're here in the Jewish quarter, which was basically developed in the late 19th, early 20th century when the Jewish slums were taken down for hygienic and sanitation reasons. And when you look around here, you have this stunning early 20th century architecture. Why don't you tell me a little bit, Richard, about Art Nouveau in Prague?
Well, Prague would be one of the most Art Nouveau style cities in Europe, together with Paris, where the Art Nouveau style comes from, and Vienna in Austria. Prague would be probably the third biggest city with the Art Nouveau building. And as you can see on the buildings, it's really typical for Art Nouveau style is the straight shapes with a little bit curly flower decoration, which referring to the nature, and that's what was the most that's what would be the most significant thing. And all those buildings were made as an apartment buildings, and it's usually they're really tall ceilings, so the flats are really enormous for the downtown of the city. So also this is the most expensive neighborhood for renting in an apartment.
Oh, this area neighborhood? Okay. Oh, wow.
So all those buildings around, all those buildings in the historical Jewish town are apartment buildings. There are mostly no offices and other buildings. And
now I see a synagogue right here.
Synagogue.
Yeah. Interesting. Which synagogue is this here?
This is the Nouveau synagogue.
Okay. How many synagogues are still left here in Prague?
Well, there are 6 synagogues in Prague, but only 3 of them are still
used as a synagogue?
Yes.
Is this one still an active synagogue?
No, this one is a part of the Jewish Museum. So basically there are no Shabbat mass, but also so basically this is not being used as a synagogue anymore. It's only part of the museum.
Now, while we're talking about it, can you tell me a little bit about Jewish history in Prague?
Well, the first Jews come to Prague about middle of 12th century, but there are no certain mentions in the book, so all those history is a bit uncertain. But the Jewish ghetto was made at the end of 13th century. Okay. And it was made after, well, there's a bit complicated history, but basically Christian Pope, banned Jews from cities, and he made these 3 rules. That first one was they should live in a ghetto. That's why in every big European city there's a quarter called ghetto, historical quarter where all the Jews live. And the second thing was they should wear the yellow star. It's pretty much the same what were during the Second World War. So this happened earlier already? Yes. So basically Hitler only took those things, those 3 laws from the history. So the first one was living in a ghetto, the second one was sort of marking Jews, they're wearing a yellow star, so the other people would know they are Jews when they left the ghetto during the day. And the third thing was that Jews couldn't work with agriculture, they couldn't own the land. So the idea was they couldn't have a connection with the country, and so that's why they became mostly bankers or working as an insurance people. Financial services. Yes, because that's... Christians were forbidden to be involved in those services. No, the Christians were not allowed to do those things, right? Well, if I remember correctly? It depends. It depends on the time of the history, but of course. Mostly, yes. And so that's why they're more focused about the money system, because they couldn't work with the agriculture, and in the Middle Age there wasn't that many possibilities to work outside of agriculture system. So basically there were 3 rules apply all around Europe, so that's why all those Jewish population in every city were pretty much the same. But there's an important thing to say about Prague Jewish population historically is that it's the only East European and Central European Jewish ghetto which remains as it were in history, because during the war when the Czech Republic was under the Germany,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of cities in Poland, in Germany, and in the rest of the cities in Czech Republic, there were synagogues destroyed and burned.
Yes.
But only
There are not too many
Prague-
synagogues left.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
But only synagogues in Prague were remained because Hitler wanted to preserve Prague as a museum
Okay.
of Judaism.
Uh-huh.
Museum of the race that he was planning to erase, but that's the only some sort of small luck in this big disaster that the synagogues were preserved in their original shape.
Okay, great. Thank you for giving us that background.
You're welcome.